A colossal sausage. It's a word sausage that I'm talking about. And just how colossal can a sausage be? 26 bubbles. Feast your eyes. It's lengthy. It's hard to take in. That is a great big package of oration. That is one lengthy, wiggling anaconda of assertion. It may be the biggest prelection I have ever seen. You could call it a work of oral exercise, but since it is a monologue, you could also call it solo action. These are jokes, and they might not be particularly good jokes, but they are jokes all the same, and I should not joke. Jokes are dangerous. This ridiculous speech is from an X-Men comic book titled Years of Future Past. Days of Future Past is a classic X-Men story from 1981. Days of Future Past. It sounds ominous and poetic. Years of Future Past sounds a bit clunky. I guess that this story was released in 2015, so why it's coming up now, I don't know. I guess no one wants to read this crap anymore, and it just takes that long for it to surface. I haven't read it myself, but if this is what it has to offer, I think I'll pass. Now, about this anti-joke speech, I do have to say that this is not something that is entirely new. This is the cover of the one and only issue of Supergirl and Team Luthor from 1993. So I would have been in high school then, and I do own a copy of this issue. Back then, blonde jokes were a big thing. And for some reason, some pain-in-the-ass comic book writer decided that he needed to speak out against the blonde jokes. How can you tell when a blonde has been using your computer? I give up. How? There's whiteout on the screen. Oh, that's wicked, but I love it. Hey, I've got one. How do you make a blonde's eyes twinkle? That's easy. Shine a flashlight through her ears. Oh, I give up. You're too clever for me. Well, of all the thoughtless... Clever? You think that being nasty and mean-spirited is clever? We were only kidding, Dr. Kelly. Yeah, geez, they're just jokes. Just jokes. And how would you feel if we started telling shallow redhead or mousy brunette jokes? So it has been done before, but not on this scale. Because this takes the uptight anti-humor sensitivity trope and pushes the dials up to 11. This palace of a word balloon is amazing. Just wait till you hear it. Anyway, like I said, I was watching a live stream, and that discussion made me decide that I had something to add here. But first, let's take a look at this. Before I can even comment on the actual words, I can't help but comment on the structure of the word balloon that contains them.
Yeah, it's hard to follow because it's fucking a mess.
Yeah, and I read this shit all the time, but yes, it starts here, and it goes around like that.
The way you have to move around it resembles a game of chutes and ladders. And what meaningful message is contained in this maze? It's telling you that jokes are very powerful and very dangerous. So be careful, Internet. You could be killing people. I'm not kidding. That's what Colossus is going to tell you. Let's read it. It always begins as a joke. Listen to me, both of you. One sees a father or a mother of whom they do not approve, and their brats won't shut up, and the parents are so exhausted that they just let their children scream, all sticky and crying and hitting and wild. He's right, I always do disapprove of that when I see it. I don't think I'm going to apologize for that. And you say to your friends, you should have to pass a test to breed. Do you understand? You should have to get licensed to have kids. It starts as a joke. Then, perhaps there is tragedy, a postpartum mother who should have gotten help, but her insurance did not cover the therapy, a father who erred because he was raised believing that men are pathetic if they are caregivers.
The father who is raised to believe being a caregiver is pathetic.
Yeah,
What?
what does that got to do with having kids?
The first tests are drafted, and you think, good. You think, those children will be safe now. No, you wouldn't think that, because it was just a joke, not a serious suggestion. Does this writer even know what a joke is? The test comes out, and yes, there are some problems, but nothing that cannot be ironed out, yes? But now, anyone with mental illness, with a criminal record, is barred from becoming a parent.
But now anyone with mental illness with a criminal record is barred from becoming a parent.
Wait, where the fuck did they get? Whoa.
I'll go back.
How have we gone from that to there?
So they're saying that like these two parents ended up being bad, and so because of that tragedy, the first tests get drafted.
Yes, he jumped all the way to that for his
So it's
big.
like, wow, yeah.
Election.
It seems like a lot of policy was built between those two bubbles.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And you think, well, that is sensible, yes? Because you've never known anyone like that, so who is to tell you that they are not like they are portrayed in stories? Okay, hold on. What fucking stories have you been reading? Sick, dangerous, criminal. These words expand. Suddenly, it is anyone with diabetes.
Suddenly, it's anyone with diabetes, anyone with cancer, because they could die and leave their children.
Shut up, Colossus!
Preachy Colossus at it again.
I am only halfway
Shut
through.
up and put the kettle on, for fuck's sake! These kids have had enough.
So
They
how,
don't even know what you're talking about. You're rambling.
Yeah, if I was in the room with him, I would at one point be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
who in the fuck sits and talks to somebody for this fucking long? Like without reading something.
So how dare they ever try to have children? It is deaf couples, disabled couples, interracial couples, gay couples. Because don't they know how hard they're making it for their children? Then it is whoever they want. You think you are working for the greater good. You can't even fathom the life of someone who isn't exactly like you. You think you're working for the greater good. I remember this being about someone making a joke about needing a test to breed. So the message here is that if you make a joke, you must mean it literally. In fact, you must want to back it so entirely, so completely, that you would support a government eugenics program? This is some high-caliber bullshit. Then one day, it is you. Some gene, some history, some past behavior, and suddenly you too are sick, dangerous, criminal. Because the truth is this: human hate can adapt to anything. You think you are safe, but if someone hates you, they will come up with the reason after the fact. Only then do you realize what you put in power. Only then do you realize what you stripped away.
What are you talking about?
There is terrible power in a joke, in a story, in taking the truth and making it ugly. Do you understand, children?
Wow. You are one serious fucking buzzkill.
I love the way he just rambled on without interruption. The kids didn't say one word during his speech. Okay, so people should need a license to breed. You can't make that joke, or you might contribute to the creation of a deadly eugenics program. Say something small, and you could destroy the future. If I apply that standard to his speech, then I have to come to the conclusion that anything more offensive than a knock-knock joke can be considered dangerous. And since any dangerous idea could hypothetically lead to a dark future, then all humor must be eradicated. Humor must be eliminated. That's what you're risking by telling people that jokes are dangerous. Of course, I don't think you're really risking that, but the standards that are set by this very speech demand that conclusion. Do not tell jokes, or you could destroy the future.
This is essentially the slippery slope argument. It's I'd be like, let's have another 27 bubbles to talk about what happens when you start to censor jokes, and then you start to censor what the subjects can be discussed.
There we go. That's why I made this video. Mahler wanted another 26 bubbles discussing the censorship of jokes. Instead of giving you 26 bubbles about censoring jokes, I'll give you an entire story about it. How about 6 pages from an old comic book anthology? A story about a future where humor is outlawed. Epic Illustrated number 6 from 1981, the same year that the original Days of Future Past was released. Epic Illustrated was an anthology series. That means each issue had several stories in it, and this particular issue had a story titled No Laughin' Matter. It was a story that described a world in which humor and laughter had been literally outlawed, and this censorship is enforced by lethal robots called hecklers. Feldman's as dead as vaudeville. So were Martin and Brooks and even Letterman. Rickles was found guilty of sedition in The Great Purge in '98. They surgically removed his vocal cords. Carson's only a memory now, but rumor has it a little clone still does an occasional impersonation. But it just ain't the same. Somewhere along the line things went sour, and folks turned bitter, and life became no laughin' matter.
Laughers were reported in this area. Our job is to investigate and eradicate. Jam all transmission bands. They may have posted a spotter.
We did, for all the good that did. Me, old Robinson Watts, too old to do much more than watch and wait. Told you this was foolish business, Costello. Ring down the curtain. Hecklers closing fast. Costello, do you read me? By the fawns. Get our people out of there, for it's too late. It's wonderful, Nell. I never dreamed. One of the few tunes to survive the purge. That rabbit kills me. Nell, what? I don't know. No need to worry, just the straggler alarm. Besides, Robbie's the best spotter we got. If something was wrong, he'd let us know. You're too late, brother, we... Got you this time, you wascally wabbit!
Stop, lawbreaker.
In the name of God, Costello, run! I tried to warn you, old friend. Hecklers! Not them. Not here. Nell, help me please, Nell. You killed her. For nothing. Damn you, heckler. Damn you to hell. You had no right.
I have every right. The law is the law. The law must be upheld. The law will be upheld. That, too, is the law. Is laughter so important to be worth your life?
I hid in the shadows, sick, watching disposal units cart the bodies to Distribution Central, and sick, I wandered home. 3 days I spent in mourning, knowing what had to be done, and knowing the hecklers had returned to the Fun Regulatory Institute. I shivered as I hurried past that dark monument to black despair, taking little comfort in the fact that a light glowed within. A spark of humanity, maybe? Or just a monster waiting for the long night to end, waiting to go to work. I'll tell you something, there was more life in Youngman's decrepit old funeral home than that godforsaken institute. I made sure of that. You see, I owed my friends a debt, and if I could keep the laughter alive a bit longer, it was like I was keeping them alive, too. So I came out of retirement and stepped smack dab into hell. Can't remember much of what happened next, but I do remember folks screaming behind me. Then my whole world came to a stop. End of the line, laugher. There's nowhere left to run. Maybe there never was. A man gets tired of running, tired of being told what to do and when. A man needs to be free, and if he ain't that, he's nothing but a machine. So do your worst, bucko. You'll only be doing me a favor. The law must be maintained. Fry 10. Execute the law.
As you wish, Controller.
You shot him, but...
Couldn't kill the laughter, bucko. Not ever again.
We may not look like much. Me, a broken-down old hoofer, him a clanking bucket of bolts with more heart than microcircuits. But we're taking our act on the road, and damned if we ain't packing 'em in everywhere we go. Oh, there's your story. Is it reasonable to think that people could be put in front of firing squads for laughing? Well, that depends on what they're laughing at, I suppose. But it doesn't have to be that extreme to be a real concern. I don't have to apply the absurd Colossus absolutism to worry about this, because censorship does exist, and it always will. What kind of censorship will we see in the future?
Doolittle says that he's assuming command of this ship, and I say he's exceeding his authority because I'm the only one with any objectivity on this ship, and I should be the one to assume command. So I'm filing a report on this to headquarters. There's a lot of...
There won't ever actually be a time when humor is outlawed, but it is pretty easy for me to imagine a world in which all old entertainment is illegal. No old cartoons, no old movies, no old books. That could happen. I think a lot of people might not think that'd be too bad, but me, I think that people ought to be able to talk about anything they want. They should be able to talk about anything they want, any way they want, even if they are telling jokes. To make the point, should I offer up some off-color humor?
Yes! Yes, that sounds like an excellent idea!
Give me all the money or I'm gonna get violent.
Look, you're gonna have to take that rag off your face if you expect her to read your lips.
Well, she can read my tits.
Those are some tits.
Watch this. Yo, miss! I couldn't help noticing that your breasts there do confirm the existence of a supreme being, and...
A true wife is someone who will mix you up a fresh batch of margaritas while wearing a bikini, so you don't miss a minute of WrestleMania on pay-per-view. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, then you're missing the Nazi professional wrestler that my viewers are treated to on other platforms. Now, even though I couldn't show you that, violence is always fun. There are also a lot of memes that I'm not sure I could get away with on YouTube. I also probably couldn't get away with any of the jokes from Blazing Saddles on YouTube, but maybe this variation on the theme won't break the rules. Here was a joke that shook the world.
We'd love to have you work in the fields with us. Work in the field? That's part of that. That's Senator. I'm a house. No.
And this joke from Star Wars wasn't as funny back in 1978, but it has new context in the modern world of 2021. That was my drink you just knocked over, Skyboy. Don't blame me, pigface. Blame him. Are you trying to get smart with my girlfriend? Girlfriend? It's getting so you can't tell one sex from the other in these spaceport towns. This old joke is also appropriate to our modern era.
We roll like that, you know what I mean?
Are you my Caucasian?
I'm your man.
Are you my Caucasian?
I'm your fucking Caucasian.
All right. All right.
The Colossus word sausage is wrong. Humor is generally harmless, and even when it isn't, it won't destroy the world. And there are times when something funny can be used to make a point, or to change a mind, or to mock a ridiculous idea. If people come to fear that to the point of avoiding humor, then the world will become a drab and colorless place. And to drive that point home, here's a comic book panel that depicts a dying computer scientist dressed as an amusement park mascot. How people see things and how they react to them is what will ultimately change this world.